On today's podcast, we're talking about the role that mental grit and perseverance and learning how to handle hard and challenging things better, the role that plays in how we lead and the cultures that we create. And the best leaders and teams breathe oxygen into their mindsets that help them face challenges better. Welcome back to The Thermostat with Jason Barger. If you're currently on a commute, a walk, or just a micro break in your day, glad you're making time to step back, to think, and to reflect on the next steps on your journey. I've never been more convinced the best leaders and team cultures in the world are the ones that make time to step back, breathe in good oxygen, and calibrate their thermostat. I hope today's conversation leaves you feeling grounded and inspired. Now let's dive into today's topic to engage our minds and hearts in order to authentically lead and create compelling cultures wherever we are in the world. Hey everyone, it's Jason, and welcome back to the Thermostat Podcast. Wherever you are, however you're coming to the podcast today, so glad you are here. So glad you're making time to step back, to fill your mind with some good stuff. Whether you are new to the podcast, if you are, welcome. Glad you're here. If you are a original listener and supporter of this podcast, welcome back. So glad this continues to add value and contribute to your life and work. We're over 150 episodes, I think, now, or something about that, which is kind of hard to imagine. But my commitment to you continues to be this is going to be a place for you to step back, to think about your life and work, and hopefully think about your own thermostat, the how you calibrate your mindset and your actions for the life that you're trying to lead, for your team at work, for the culture that you're trying to create in your relationships, and I hope it continues to add value to you. I'm more convinced of this than ever as I, support and work with many teams and organizations around the world that this kind of authentic leadership and compelling cultures and proactive thinking about the culture we're trying to create, and then the mindsets that we breathe oxygen in to continue to fuel them is more important now than ever. So thanks, and so glad you are part of today's episode. Before we dive into today, if you would do me the quick favor and rate this podcast 5 stars, leave a positive review, share it with the people in your network, whether that's social media, on email, telling your team about it at work. Those are the ways in which this spreads. So again, I hate that this is something I ask for, but this is just the reality of the world we live in today. This is how things spread. So if you'd be willing to do me that favor, this is all free resources. So if you'll leave a positive review, 5 stars, share your authentic words about it, and share it with other people, that would be really, really appreciated. So on today's podcast, with Thanksgiving approaching, I wanted to breathe a little oxygen into myself, perhaps invite you to do the same thing, and in the process, we'll learn that thankfulness is oxygen for ourselves and those around us. But before we get into today's episode, let's take a break, let's pause for a second, and we'll be right back. If you haven't done so already, we hope you'll visit Amazon or Amplify or jasonvbarger.com to check out Breathing Oxygen, my new book that is all about breathing good oxygen into ourselves and mindsets that fuel ourselves and the teams and the organizations around us. Positive, healthy thinking is as essential to great leadership and building a winning culture as the air we breathe. Leading yourself and a team of people has never been more complicated than it is today. As a leader, every move you make is either breathing life into your organization or slowly killing it. The atmosphere can easily turn toxic with negativity, blame, and doubt poisoning the culture. Just like every being on the planet needs good air to breathe, every organization needs leadership that breathes life into its people to sustain the energy required to complete its mission. Breathing Oxygen focuses on 6 key leadership mindsets that breathe life into any team: clarity, inclusivity, mental agility, grit, rest, and ownership. Join us, read, and share Breathing Oxygen.
Available now from Amplify Books on Amazon and jasonvbarger.com.
First and foremost, Thanksgiving is almost here, which means Black Friday is right around the corner. I think it's getting less and less crazy because Black Friday seems to happen, sooner and sooner each year. And so it's not just the one day that everybody loses their mind and runs, knocks each other over to try to grab something at Best Buy or Walmart or something. But that race that begins through the holidays is almost here. And the first thing I just want to say is a sincere thank you to everybody that I don't want you to run and knock people over in order to get breathing oxygen. I want you to step back from the baggage claim and think. But for those of you that have been sharing wonderful reviews and nice things about my new book, Breathing Oxygen, I just want to say thank you to you. And as the holiday season approaches, I hope more and more people are going to continue to get it, to read it, and it resonates with them. So thanks to everybody for that. The other thing, thank you, I'll just say, is that we have recently had my most recent Thermostat Cultures Live event, hybrid event, in-person VIP experience in Columbus, Ohio, and also a virtual experience. And it was just a powerful day. Again, I'll just say thank you to everybody who was a part of that or supported that. If you want to learn more about it, listen to some of the past episodes, and you'll hear a more recap about it, in the past. But today, I want to practice and model and also just breathe a little oxygen into myself and allow myself to experience the oxygen that is thankfulness. And as I talk about in my new book, Breathing Oxygen, again, the mindsets either help us breathe easier, breathe healthier, help us handle hard things better, as we talked about on one of the last podcasts, and it helps us navigate our way to think about what are the mindsets that we are feeding. Are we breathing in oxygen of gratitude and thankfulness and solutions and training and practicing our mind to seek that kind of thinking? Or are we breathing in the toxic air of blame, negativity, gossip, finger pointing, this will never work kind of mentality? And that kind of toxic air steals the oxygen from ourselves, but also from the people around us. So thankfulness, this idea of thankfulness, is oxygen. Sharing gratitude shifts the lens through which we see what is in front of us, what is around us, and what we are truly facing. It shifts our eyes out of all that is imperfect around us. It shifts. So instead of just seeing the things that are imperfect, which we live in an imperfect world, we are imperfect people. So, but it shifts our eyes from focusing on the things that aren't perfect and chooses, and the lens gets clearer than when we fixate our eyes on what we are thankful for, what we're grateful for, and what we are fortunate to be experiencing in our lives and our work. And so I just wanted to share a little bit, maybe be a little bit vulnerable with you this morning, but share in which, one of the ways in which I have been cultivating this kind of mindset, practicing it myself and trying to model it for myself, because these things that I talk about on my podcast, again, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I have challenges and faults, and that, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but everything that I talk about in this podcast, hopefully by now you know this, are not just things that I think are interesting. These are things that I believe, things that I'm passionate about, things that I'm practicing and trying, again, imperfectly, but trying to model and practice myself. And so today I'll share a little bit about my practice of how I breathe in that oxygen of thankfulness and gratitude. And maybe it will reveal something to you, or maybe it'll just encourage you to maybe begin to think about how do you practice that kind of mindset and that kind of thinking. So I'll share with you that I've, for the last couple of years, I've had a gratitude prayer practice for some time now, and today I'll share a little bit about what I do with this, with really that's become a daily practice for me. And so most days, I'm not saying I'm perfect and I don't do it at the exact same time every day, but most days I do this for a few minutes. It's a few minute practice that I do to begin my day. And on some days where maybe I don't, maybe a weekend or something where my schedule's a little different, maybe I don't do it exactly first thing in the morning, although most days I really do. But some days I do it while I'm driving. Some days I do it, I don't close my eyes while I'm driving, but some days I do it, right before, I do it, I oftentimes repeat it or at least go through another kind of few minutes of thoughtful meditation and prayer and just mindset practice before I give a presentation or before I'm with a group or that I'm being asked to share with somebody. I go through this kind of practice, and so on my way to meet with somebody who says to me, "Hey, I want to chat. Any chance we can get coffee or a drink or something and have lunch?" And there's something I'm really working through. Before I enter those things or enter a client meeting, I take a few minutes to center myself and make sure that my mindset is rooted in thankfulness and gratitude. And so the practice is that I simply take a few minutes to roll through a litany of things that I'm thankful for in my life. I talk about my wife, Amy. I talk about how thankful I am for our relationship. And again, none of these things, I'm not, if Amy were right here with me, she'd say, it's not perfect. Of course, nothing is ever perfect. Doesn't mean we don't have challenges or disagreements or things we need to work through from time to time. Of course we do. But I still take a moment each day to say I'm thankful for the relationship that we've chosen and for her role in my life and how lucky I am to get to be her husband. And then the life that we are co-creating together, the decisions we're making to try to co-create a life together, and I'm grateful for that. I talk about my kids, and I go through each one of them, and I name them by name, and I talk about how thankful and grateful I am to get to be their dad, and the role that is to be a father. And I talk about each of the different developmental stages that I see them going through, and I say thank you for where they are, and I ask for courage and clarity and ability to meet them where they are, and what a privilege it is to get to be their dad and help them navigate through the different developmental phases of their life. And so I talk about my kids and those developmental stages. I talk about my parents. Both my parents, as you may know from my books or from past podcasts, both my parents have passed away and passed away, within a few years of each other. It's been a number of years now that my dad was the last one, but both of them died at the age of 70, so still young and still had so much of their life ahead of them. But I take a moment and I talk about my parents, and I'm thankful and grateful for everything that they provided for me, that the experiences they gave me, the principled way that they weren't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, of course. And they didn't have their challenges, and they had many obstacles throughout their life as well. And but I talk about the principles and the experiences and the way they approached, how lucky I was to have them as my parents, the lessons they taught me and the experience that they shared with me. I talk about my extended family, and I name people by name. And I talk about the generational kind of love and support I felt from grandparents. And I know that I'm lucky to have felt that this kind of extension of family, of grandparents that actually cared about me and believed in me and supported me, and aunts and uncles that were, built relationships with me in my life, weren't just, family by a dotted line or some kind of, family tree, but actually were cared about me and supported me and were and believed in me. And I talk about all the ways in which now, I express gratitude for my in-laws, how lucky I am to have married into and to have, sister-in-laws and brother-in-laws, and to have mother-in-law and father-in-law and all the extended family, to have, cousins and aunts and uncles, and to have nieces and nephews now, and the color and joy that they bring to life. And I name the friendships. I'm grateful, and I express this kind of thankfulness for the true friendships that I have and those who have walked with me and believe in me and supported me a lot of my life and pick me up but also that are celebrate with me and that are so fun to celebrate life and have fun and joy and laugh with. And I name them, and I'm grateful for them. I express gratitude for any and all the people in the world who are working, each day to make things better for people. And I'm thankful for people and grateful for people that are working to help people and to help with, challenging social issues or challenges we might be facing as a world. I name my gratitude for the fact that I get to do this type of work in the world. I start each day by making sure that I'm grateful of that I express my thankfulness for the leaders and the teams and the organizations that I partner with, that to engage the minds and hearts and stimulate progress in their work and in their cultures and to help them be better at what they do, and the cultures that we're trying to create together, and that we're continuing to raise the bar on our own leadership and the performance that we're aiming for and that they're aiming for in their organization. I express gratitude for the ability to use my mind and my heart to hopefully breathe good oxygen into other people. And so I take a moment to name those partnerships and those people and the privilege I believe it is to get to serve and to support them in these ways. I share all of that with you because I'm thankful for anyone out there who's listening. You are an extension of those people that I'm naming. And I'm even more thankful for those who listen and something resonates with you and makes a difference in your life and work. For the people that read my books or hear me speak or are part of an audience out there, I'm grateful for the ecosystem of this work, and I recognize that it's a privilege and that I am fortunate to get to do it, and I don't take that lightly. I also share this with you to invite you to do the same thing for your life and work. You don't have to do the exact same thing that I do, but sometime over Thanksgiving, I encourage you to write out and then say out loud all that spills out of your mind and your heart. Breathe oxygen into that thankfulness and breathe in that oxygen that is thankfulness into yourself, and then share it with the people that you talk about. Share it with them. Let them know your gratitude and your appreciation and your thankfulness. The way I end each of those practices is I say, help me to approach anything that comes my way today, whatever that may be, that however life or work, the curveballs that are thrown at me today, I pray that you help me to respond with the kind of courage, clarity of mind, with creativity and possibility and gratitude, that's the mindset I bring to find solutions and to be somebody that breathes oxygen into other people. And so whatever you may face along your path today, I wish that for you as well. I believe that leaders who understand this, and teams and organizations and cultures that are committed to helping their people breathe better, and not only because it's just the right thing to do, but because it helps our performance also expand. If you need an ROI, there it is. Our performance gets better. And as our leaders, as our teams, our organizations, our families, our relationships, we realize that continuously we need to be in the business of helping our mindsets breathe in good stuff and then help improve everyone's sight lines so that we can then accomplish and bring to action all that we're trying to be and accomplish in the world. That healthy cultures and positive cultures aren't just something that naturally happen. We have to breathe in that kind of oxygen and get clear on and be intentional and proactive about that culture we're trying to create, and then the mindsets and actions that will feed it. So a few things for you to ponder this week, some questions to ponder over this week of Thanksgiving. What is your list of things you are thankful for in your life and your work? So what is that? What are those lists? What's your list? Not mine, but what's yours? What will you say out loud, and what can you share with the people around you? What will you not only think about, but what will you say out loud and then share with others? Thankfulness is oxygen. Lastly, I just want to say to everybody out there who continuously sends me messages about the launch of the new book. Lastly, I'll just say with the holidays coming, again, people keep saying, how can I help with the launch? I'll just continue to say this. If you haven't gotten the book, one of the ways you can help is order the book and then actually read it. Read the book, because that's the most important thing. I want to write books that actually resonate with people. So if you haven't gotten it yet, get the book, read it. You can get it at Amazon or Amplify or any of go to jasonvbarger.com or anywhere. You just Google it and you'll find the book. And then, if and only if it resonates with you, the message resonates with you, or you just think that these messages are worth sharing with other people, I invite you to share it, to give the book as gifts to other people, to share these kind of messages and say, hey, I want to breathe oxygen into you, and share it. And then, lastly, this is a more logistical thing, but reviews. I keep being told by my publisher, Amazon reviews, Amazon reviews, Amazon reviews. So if you are fired up to support this, then please leave a 5-star review about the book. Use your words, genuine, authentic words, to share about what resonates with you. And again, tell other people about it. And obviously, if you have other ideas or ways you think it can spread, or if you have bulk copies you want to get or anything like that, you can email us, info@jasonvbarger.com, if you have other ideas. But those are the ways in which you can help, and people keep asking me that, so I'll just keep saying it. I appreciate everybody out there. I'm grateful for you. I'm thankful for the opportunity to get to do this. We all have a chance to breathe in appreciation and gratitude that for all that's within our control. And that actually helps us navigate the challenges and the obstacles, the uncertainty we might be facing better. And so calibrating our own personal thermostat, thinking about the person and the leader and the culture we're trying to create, that helps us get clear and then connect our action and behaviors to that. And so I hope you'll keep tuning in. We've got more great episodes coming up. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Celebrate that kind of thankfulness that is oxygen. And remember, the best leaders, teams, and cultures on the planet stimulate progress by calibrating their thermostat together, and then also choosing to breathe in good oxygen to themselves and also sharing it with the people around them. Let's share that oxygen that is thankfulness. Thank you for listening to today's podcast, and I hope the messages and questions stimulate positive change along your path. As always, if these messages resonate with you and add value to your life, I hope you'll help amplify them throughout the world. Please rate, comment, and share on whatever podcast or social media platform you're using, and share this podcast with the people in your life or work who should be part of these conversations. That way, this spirit does, in fact, spread. If these messages or developing leaders and culture would be helpful to you and your organization, please contact us at jasonvbarger.com, jasonvbarger.com. And remember, we are all ambassadors for the culture we want to create in our life and work. We have to own the vision we want to be a part of. The future of leadership is you, is me, is us. Be a thermostat.